Well, hello everybody. Hello everybody. Hello everybody. We are going to talk about such a fun, interesting subject. I think a lot of you are going to be excited about because there are many of you that I've actually spoken to that have been waiting for this. That this is something that you've been wanting to do for a while. So I think you're going to be excited. And if it isn't something that you've been asking about or wanting to do for a while, I think you should listen in anyway, because you may find that it's something that you're going to want to do. And so we're going to talk about, I get people ask me all the time, Kate gets the same thing. I want to do what you do. How do I do what you do? It's either, sometimes it's because they've been really helped by our work. Sometimes it's because they really want to contribute more or help other people more. Many, many times it's because they're actually professionals. They might be OTs, they might be SLPs, all different kinds of professionals, and they want to serve their clients better. They want to serve their families better. They want to really, be behind what they're doing. They want to really have what they're doing match their values. They want to have what they're doing really be, there for their clients in the best possible way, in a way that really approaches their clients, their autistic clients, really approaches them from the inside instead of trying to, enforce change from the outside. So there's a lot of different reasons why this might appeal to someone, why it might be something that many of you are interested in. We're very excited about it. And that we have a new professional training course, Kate C. Wild and I, and that is going to start next year, beginning of April. Okay, and it's going to be 6 months long, and I'm going to describe the whole thing to you. But first, I just want to sort of let you know this is existing. It's going to be a 6-month professional training, so that if you are someone who's in the helping professions, if you are, like I said, an OT, an SLP, a child psychologist, if you work in a school, if you are a center, if you have a center that's like an early learning center or a particular school where you're dealing with a lot of people on the spectrum, and you want to have people in your organization really trained up to be able to do this, and be able to do this, approach people on the spectrum with not just a deep understanding, but with an incredible amount of tools, knowledge, know-how, specific techniques, if that's something that you want. Or if you are just an autism coach where you work with parents or families and help them. Maybe you've had your own loved one on the spectrum and now you're helping other families. I meet a lot of parents like that. This is great for you. This is going to be great for you because you're getting a lot of tools to help people, but you're also getting a way of a sort of way of being known. One of the things that that if you go to our website, which I will put up there, I will have that up there. And just to tell you, if you're listening right now, it's safetoconnectapproach.com. Obviously but then if you do /safetoconnect.com/professional-training, right? You just do professional training. And if you do that, actually, I just want to make sure I am not giving you, sorry, I knew I had that wrong. safetoconnectapproach.com/professional-certification. Sorry, professional-certification. But I'm going to put that up there as well. So if this is something where you want to build your clientele, boost your credibility, get a qualification, like I said before, that really speaks to your values, and not just your values, but in many cases, the values of a great many parents and a great many autistic people, right? Autistic people have, as I'm sure you know, become much more active online, and they've really been able to advocate for themselves, what they're going through, what types of help they can use, and what types of help are really counterproductive and even traumatizing to them. This is very, very important. This is, we went decades and decades and decades without getting any of this. So this is really, really important. So if you want to help them in a way that's congruent with not only the values of a lot of parents and families, but the values and experiences of so many autistic people, this is great for that. If you want to work with your clients in a way that demonstrates a deep understanding, and not just an understanding, but an honoring of the autistic brain, the autistic nervous system, the autistic psyche, the autistic experience, If you want to also have an experience of like feeling less stressed and more successful with your clients and at work, because you want to eliminate, feeling that a lot of professionals get, they talk to me about, a feeling where you sometimes feel like you're fighting or battling with your autistic client. You ever have that feeling? You're kind of fighting and battling with them, trying to get them to do something, trying to get them not to do something. Or some of you may feel like you're oftentimes fighting or battling the parents. So if you would like to not have that, if you'd like to have a really different experience, it's another reason to be interested in this. If you want to find an even more powerful purpose in what you're doing than even what you already have, if you want to enable your autistic clients to make just the most leaps forward possible, the most progress possible, but without you ever feeling like you have to push or pressure those autistic people. And that's really important. This is a way of learning to approach autistic people where you can help them grow and learn in all sorts of different ways without pushing them, without pressuring them, without any kind of coercion whatsoever. This is key. If you want to have a better, more productive, and even more sort of respectfully authoritative relationship with the parents that you're involved with, whether those are just parents you're involved with because they're the parents of your clients, or whether the parents are actually your clients. In both cases, we have a whole piece of the certification course that's designed for to help you really be a superb communicator with parents, really be a good communicator, how to manage parental emotions and address that, so that it doesn't turn into a fight, and so that you can really get them on board, and how to actually teach parents to utilize and implement what you've learned in the certification course itself. We have some basic pieces that we actually show you how to actually teach that to parents in a way that they can really take in and use. If you would like to bring the Safe to Connect Autism Approach, the ACT Autism Crisis Turnaround ACT protocol to your community, this is a great way to do that. A great way to do that. When we have different communities that are already interested in this, even certain communities, I'm talking about whole towns, even religious communities, different areas, schools that are interested in, they want to bring get a whole bunch of people trained to bring that and really bring that to their community, so their whole community is fundamentally knowledgeable, treats people on the spectrum with deep respect and understanding, also has techniques to really help their loved ones on that, and creates a community where autism is understood, where autism isn't judged, where people aren't dealing with their kids in super counterproductive ways, which often happens, as you know, in this world that we live in, right? So all of that really, really helpful. What we're trying to do, by the way, is we are trying to create a whole powerful force, a whole community, a whole population of professionals who are doing the Safe to Connect Autism Approach, who are implementing the ACT protocol, who are doing this. We want to have a whole big group of there. I almost said army. I keep thinking we want to have a whole army, but I don't like it's not synonymous with war. It's not a war. So I don't want to use that word, but really a whole group of people who can do this. So, we're very excited about it. Let me tell you some more about this. If you already work with kids, you want your kids to really trust you. Your autistic kids, you want them to really trust you. You want them to really love being with you. This is the way to do that. If you want to feel more confident. I talk with so many professionals who love what they do, value what they do, love their clients, but who don't always feel confident in what they're doing because they feel like there's so many situations where they don't know what to do, where they're not sure what they're doing is the best way to do it. And it's not because they're not educated. They've been educated, but not in that nitty gritty. Here's exactly what you do when a child or adult is doing X or Y, right? Which is what we are going to cover. We are going to cover exactly what to do, as well as how to be so that you are like a giant welcome mat for people on the spectrum, which then helps them step forward toward you and toward the world in a way that feels comfortable for them. Really, it's really awesome. It's also just rare to take a course, learn something in the autism field, where you're learning from people who can answer every single question that you have. Like Kate and I, this is one of the things we're going to do. We answer any kind of questions that you're going to bring up. We've seen it 100 times, so we can really help you with exactly how to handle that. But it also follows, so we do have lots of question and answer time in the course, but it also follows a very particular structure, a very particular curriculum. And I'm going to tell you a little more about that too. First of all, I have the website open here if you wonder why I'm looking down at my computer sometimes. So yeah, there's let me read this to you. This is a piece of the website that I wrote that I felt like was very important. Families, learning centers, and certainly many professionals we found that they're like crying out for ways to connect with, to teach, to inspire, to communicate with, and to build trust with people on the autism spectrum. But to do so in a way that enables those people on the spectrum to, number one, feel safe instead of threatened. Number two, to be regulated instead of overloaded, helping people on the spectrum to do this, to be regulated instead of overloaded, to truly connect instead of disconnect, right? To trust instead of to resist, to feel respected instead of feeling coerced. Oh, that's such a common thing, feeling coerced for people on the spectrum. To feel loved instead of feeling evaluated. For autistic people to participate instead of being ruled by behaviors that others might find challenging or maybe even frightening. And to help people on the spectrum to enjoy trying new and challenging things instead of, and listen to this part, instead of having in their minds an association of fear, stress, loss of control, overwhelm, and unpleasantness, having an association of that with interacting, learning, and communicating. A lot of people on the spectrum associate interacting, learning, trying new things, and communicating. They have a close association to that with fear, stress, loss of control, coercion, overwhelm, unpleasantness, right? Why do they have that association? Was it just made up in the minds of all autistic people? Heck no. They have that association because that is what it's been like for most people on the spectrum. That is what happens, that when they're in situations where they're encouraged to interact or invited to learn or communicate, it's done in a way that is coercive, that is overwhelming, that does overload their sensory systems, that does put them in a situation where they experience a loss of control. Right? All of that, right? That's what they're experiencing. So this is about, hey, do you want to learn to help people in a way that doesn't do that? Right? This is so important to me because it's like what I really want more than anything else, even more than people taking the course, which would be great. But what I really want is I want to create a situation in the world where autistic people can be treated the way they want to be treated, and in the way that they could be treated with a deep love, respect, understanding, honoring, while still creating lots of opportunities for them to grow and learn and stretch themselves and do things tomorrow that they might not be doing today or yesterday, right? Not that they have to, but that there's that opportunity to do so in a non-threatening way. But look, even more important for me than that is that they are treated in this way that is respectful, that feels not scary to them, that feels non-threatening to them, that feels comfortable for them. Like imagine if there was just many people living all over the world who knew this, who understood autistic people and could really help neurotypical parents, therapists, etc. to best interact with them. It's amazing. So this is why this is like a labor of love for me and for Kate in creating and implementing this course. Really, so I think this is the long-term way to like really change the way the world is for autistic people. Like really, really. So let's talk about more about this. Again, I know, some of this is, I'm reading off the website, of course, but I want to tell you the important information. You can join Ron K. Kaufman and Kate C. Wild with well over half a century of combined experience. That's true. We have over 55 years of combined experience. That is true. As they provide you with the kind of in-depth training that will earn you the respect of your colleagues, the value of parents, the gratitude of clients, and the pride of yourself. You like that little flowery sentence going on there? Okay, let's keep going. I'm going to get into the more nitty-gritty. So first of all, here's what you're going to learn in the course. I mean, I'm going to give you a longer list in a minute, but here's the basic areas of learning that are going to happen. One is we're going to go deep into the 5 natural laws of autism, what they are, but not only what they are, because I've talked to some of you guys about that, but how to translate them into an actual way of interacting with, engaging with, and ultimately helping learn people on the spectrum. Okay, so that's 5. We're going to talk about you really learning how to spot and how to identify and detect the 3 neurostates of autism, and which one of the 3 neurostates any particular child or adult of any age and of any communication level, how to identify at any given moment which of those 3 neurostates they're in, and then how to cater what you're doing to match the neurostate. This is very important. This is a highly overlooked area of addressing autism, highly overlooked. So we're going to address that. We're going to do the entire ACT protocol, a deep dive into the ACT protocol, not just as we do in the ACT live rescue course, where we teach parents and professionals how to start to implement it, but we're going to do a deep dive into the ACT protocol, how it works, why it works, and like I mentioned earlier, how to actually show your parents, the parents you're working with or the parents of your clients, how to show them how to do it, what it is and how to do it, so that you're not just learning how to implement it yourself, you're learning how to show other people what it is and how to do it. Okay, that's another one. Now, here's another thing. We're also going to be doing taxi driver decisional assistance. Now, these are concrete steps to take specifically with highly verbal people on the spectrum to do a whole bunch of things. One is to help diffuse inflammatory statements, desires, and decisions in a way that is conflict-free and feels safe to them. Muy importante. And to enable them to grow socially by exploring and problem-solving challenges like events, feelings, recurring thoughts they may be having, ongoing issues, shyness, anxiety, things like that, things that might be bothering them, and enabling them to really think through the social and other consequences of potential decisions, potential responses, any magical thinking they might be engaged in, any belligerence they might be acting out, without, and this is key, this is an ongoing theme, but doing all of this without you having to push, without you having to contradict them and debate with them, without you ever needing to scold them, without you certainly ever needing to threaten them with some dire consequence if they do X, Y, or Z. Right? So it's a really great way. I've talked a little bit about how I implement taxi driver decisional assistance with people on the spectrum this is specifically just for that one piece, is specifically for highly verbal people on the spectrum, whereas all the other stuff is for everyone on the spectrum, whether they're highly verbal or not. We're also going to be talking, like I mentioned earlier, parent coaching for professionals. This is really high-level expertise from Kate and I, who've been doing it for decades and decades, on the best ways to communicate with parents and the most effective ways to teach them the 5 natural laws of autism and the ACT protocol, which you will be qualified to do after taking the course. We're also going to be providing you with superb, fully rendered handouts that you can then give to the parents. So it's not, you're going to be able to teach, but you're also going to be able to give them really good handouts. They're going to love you for this. I'm telling you, they're going to love you for this. So you're going to be able to do all that after taking the course. Also, by the way, how to deal with parent challenges that may come up too, like emotional parents, angry parents, right? Pushy parents, that kind of stuff, to way to deal with that in a way that works with the parents and doesn't get in fights with the parents, right? So we've been doing this a long, long, long time. We've seen not only every challenge that can happen for someone on the spectrum, but every challenge that can happen with parents. We've seen it all, so we can really help you with that. So yeah, those are the large 5 areas that we're addressing. By the way, if you do take and get certified by the course, a few different additional things you're going to get aside from all of that. So obviously you'll be able to tell clients that you're certified in the Safe to Connect Autism Approach and in the ACT protocol, of course. But you're also going to be featured on our website. We'll have a page just for all the people who are certified and where, have a way of them getting directly in touch with you and where you are located and a picture of you and all that stuff. You will be highlighted in certain emails that we send directly to our large worldwide email list, right? You're going to gain access to a portal of tools and videos. I'm talking about ongoing accesses after you're done with the course, that you can use yourself as retraining and reminders, but that you can also offer to the parents with whom you work, families with whom you work. You'll become part of a great supportive community of professionals who share your values. That's invaluable. You're going to have permanent access to a set of fully done for you handouts that you can use yourself or give out to parents and families if you choose. That's up to you. But you will have access to all that for sure. And you're going to be able to offer your clients 50% discounts on any courses with us, which is just a nice, again, this will be another reason for them to work with you, right? So that's great too. And everything, by the way, if they do take a course with us, we're just going to support, it's going to support your practice. We're going to support your practice actively, right? And by the way, it doesn't come with, in case you're worried about this, it doesn't come with, we're not going to be on you. Do you know what I mean by that? We're not going to be on you. What are you doing? Who are you working with? Blah, that's not our way. We're not that type. We want you, the whole point is for you to have a sense of independence and initiative and be able to, so we're not going to, don't feel like you're going to be hovered over and we're going to be kind of getting in your way, asking you questions, giving you the 3rd degree. Once you take the course and you're qualified in this, you'll really be able to make use of it without having to ask permission for lots of stuff. You know what I mean? Now, I have a list. I want to read this. I know this is a bit long, what I'm about to read, but we got some time, actually. We got some time, so I'm going to read it for you. This is just a list of some of the stuff that you're going to learn. I did the overarching, what are the 5 main areas, but let me just read this list. Bear with me here, okay? Because this is helpful for you to know. So we're going to talk about how to handle your biggest challenges and trickiest scenarios, as I've mentioned. How to be an expert, for you to do this, be an expert at preventing meltdowns and extreme or explosive behavior. That's huge. How to lengthen and strengthen social attention span, which is different than regular attention span. Regular attention span is how long can they focus on something? How long can someone focus on something? Which actually many people on the spectrum are spectacular at, better than neurotypical people. But what they often can struggle with is social attention span. How long can they stay engaged in an activity with another human being, a reciprocal back and forth activity? And that, for a lot of people, when Kate and I first start working with them, sometimes that's 5 minutes, even sometimes 2 minutes. And what it does is it prevents lots of other learning and growth from happening, because if you can't stay engaged for longer than, say, 4 minutes, that means it's going to be very hard for you not only to create relationships, but also to learn anything that requires more than 4 or 5 minutes, right? But if you have a social attention span of an hour or even 45 minutes, a whole universe opens up to you of what you're now able to take in, because you can actually stay with something with another person for 45 minutes. So we're going to talk to you, we're going to teach you how to lengthen and strengthen social attention span. We're going to talk to you about, help you learn the way out of cycles of button pushing. This is where a client or a student of yours does certain things just to get a reaction out of you or with others. So we're going to talk to you, how do you get out of that cycle? We're going to talk about We're going to talk about helping you to avoid control battles. This is crucial. Control battles are a huge problem. They're a huge thing that's going to get in the way of what you're doing. You've probably already seen this. We're going to talk to you about how do you do that? How do you avoid those? We're talking about diffusing inflammatory statements and desires and decisions with highly verbal clients and students. I mentioned that earlier. We're going to talk about the timing of teaching, how to know when to teach or challenge and when not to. This is important. If you are able to do just that, it's going to separate you from all the other professionals that parents are taking their kids to. It's going to separate, because almost no professionals do this. I'm sorry, I don't mean that as a put down. There's amazing, dedicated, spectacular professionals, knowledgeable, caring. So it's not a put down, but I'm just telling you, I work with these people. When I start working with them, almost none of them do the timing of teaching. If they have a session with a kid from 3 to 4, they're all about trying to they have a plan, they've thought it through, and they're all about trying to get their plan or their schedule or whatever for that 3 to 4 session or 3 to 3:30 session to try and get that to happen with that child or adult. And what gets ignored is that you can't just do it like that. There are times when you teach and challenge and get them to do stuff and it will really work. And there's going to be times when it's going to be highly counterproductive and it's going to cause lots of problems. So we help you with this, the timing of teaching. We're going to help you with neurostate detection. I mentioned that earlier. That's how to identify precisely which of the neurostates your client or student is at any given moment. We're going to talk about the neurostate match, which is how to attune to the neurostate of your client, meaning cater what you're doing to them. We're going to talk, of course, a ton about what neurocrashes are, what causes them, how to prevent them. We're going to talk about how to facilitate coercion-free learning and growth. Yes, that's right, coercion-free learning and growth. That's the only kind of growth that matters to me, I got to tell you. But that's not the kind of growth most people do. It's not coercion-free in most instances. Keys to building trust with your clients and students. Setting non-blurry boundaries with your clients and students. Oh my gosh, most people have a really tough time with that. We're going to show you how to do it in a way that really works. Effective approaches to teaching and promoting life skills. Cornerstones of social interaction and socialization. Circumventing crying, hitting, spitting, screaming, pinching, swearing, and similar behaviors. Got to include swearing in there. You got to include that. Promoting in your clients or students a willingness to try new things and be more comfortable with things not going as they wish or as they expect. Muy importante. Enhancing engagement, participation, and interaction. Increasing your clients or students' motivation. Dealing with your own discomfort or stress. That's important, you guys. Becoming immune to being tripped up and flustered. I don't mean in your whole life. I don't know anyone that's immune to that in their whole life. But in your work and in your sessions, how to be immune to being tripped up or flustered. Overcoming and greatly reducing your own stress. What to do when your clients or students are not engaged. Maximizing the times when they are engaged. How to make your environment, the environment that you're with your students or clients in, the most conducive to regulation, reduce control battles, better behavior, and learning. Facilitating the mental health of your students or clients. This is another one that feels like gets not mentioned enough, right? It's not just about help your student move from point A to point B, right? Their mental health matters. In fact, I would argue nothing matters without mental health. Any particular skill doesn't matter if your mental health is in the toilet. Right? And it is for a lot of people on the spectrum, not because they're autistic. Right? Autistic doesn't create bad mental health, right? But because of how they are dealt with day in and day out in such a way that they are so stressed out and dysregulated that, yes, their mental health suffers severely from it. So we're going to talk about that. Facilitating the mental health of your students and clients. Facilitating the mental health of somebody else. You. Yes, that's right. Facilitating your own mental health. That kind of matters, right? Since you're the one helping them. Helping your students and clients to feel safe. Oh my gosh, this is huge, right? Because they have to feel safe to connect, right? It's the name of the whole process, right? Safe to connect, but really helping them feel safe. Exactly how to handle stims. We're going to be addressing exactly how to handle STEMs, how to approach self-harming behaviors, helping your students and clients with emotional regulation, dealing with challenging parental situations, getting parents on board, creating real connection with parents, teaching concepts to parents in a way that they will be able to understand and be able to actually put into practice, dealing with distressed or dysregulated parents, and setting non-blurry boundaries with parents. We also, as I said earlier, we also address setting non-blurry boundaries with your students or clients, but also how to do that with parents. They're both really important and actually very helpful, not just to you, but to them as well. Whew. So that's not even a completely dispositive list. Like there's other things that I'm sure I missed on that list, but that's just a little tasty wasty of what's going to be covered. Let me read this to you as well, because this is pretty interesting. This is a chance also, so it's not just knowledge, but also to really help your practice, because you can help yourself get really known as a neurodiversity affirming, neurodivergence aligned professional. And I'm telling you, people are crying out for this. I hear it every day. I work with these parents every day. They're crying out for it. They're not getting it. So you're going to be a rare and very valued commodity in this world. I mean, you're not a commodity. How could I call you a commodity? A very rare and valued human, person, resource, right? So let me read this to you. We are thankfully in a time where the lived experience of autistic people is valued in a way it never has been. Society has made a profound cultural shift toward prioritizing the autonomy and emotional well-being of autistic people. Yes. But by and large, the professional community has not fully caught up with this, leading to a lot of resentment toward them from people on the spectrum and from their parents in many cases. So this training and certification course will provide you with the opportunity to be, one, deeply educated in the underlying emotional, neurobiological, psychological, and interpersonal autistic experience. Number two, enable you to be skilled at tuning into the wishes, desires, and preferences of your clients and students. Number three, enable you to be qualified in a neurodivergent, trauma-informed approach. Number four, to be taught by teachers, as me and Kate, with a long history of being known as advocates and experts when it comes to supporting autistic people in a way that respects their lived experience and autonomy. And it's a huge thing. Kate and I have been known for that for decades. And then lastly, help you to be positioned as a neurodivergence aligned professional who understands these values and is a true ally of the neurodiversity movement. So you get to put this into practice, but you also get to, because you're putting it into practice, because you learn it, you also get to be known as this. This is really good, really, really good moving forward in your practice and as we go forward in this day and age. Hands-on, step-by-step guidance. So you're going to get real input, strategies, compassion, ideas, tips, techniques, and feedback. Kate and I are going to really hold your hand, take you through every aspect of the training. You will be able to take what you've learned back into your practice, and then you can take what you've experienced in your practice back to us. Because remember, it's a 6-month training. So we're going to teach you things. You're going to go get to do them. Then you're going to come back to us. Here's what worked. Here's what didn't. Here's what we're struggling with. And then we're going to further help you with it. And you're going to be in a group of very supportive, awesome professionals who share your values and who will also really be there to support you as well. I really think it's going to be an experience that really affects your work during and then long after you have the course. Now, let's go into some of the details. I'm going to look and see if you have any questions about this, but let me just, I want to cover, we're still good on time. I want to cover everything that needs to be covered here, okay? So here's some different things. I'm getting to the nitty gritty here, if you just bear with me a bit here. So we have basically a multi-pronged, in-depth learning format. It includes information-packed live lectures, of course, that are very non-boring. They're very going to be easier for you to follow. Stimulating, collaborative, interactive activities, extensive pinpointed question and answer sessions, caring step-by-step support by us, eye-opening demonstration videos where we actually show us doing stuff with people on the spectrum so you can see what we're talking about in action. Practice, feedback, and evaluation. On your part, you're going to get practice, then feedback, then evaluation. Practical, real-world help in integrating the tools and concepts into your practice and dealing with challenges. 50 plus hours of live interactive classes. Hello. 50 is mucho, right? That's a lot. 50 plus hours, more than 50 hours actually. And by the way, also includes, most of the course takes place over Zoom, having live Zoom meetings that we're going to have every other Saturday for 6 months. But what is also included, this is included in the course, is a 3-day blockbuster in-person workshop. That's part of it. So that's going to take place on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the first weekend in May. It's going to take place in the New York City area. And you actually get to come and be with us in person. It's going to be so awesome. It's going to be life-changing. I mean, truly, because it's going to, the whole idea, and the reason why we're having it at the beginning of May, which is, remember, the course starts in April, so it's happening very early in the course, is because we don't want you to, have to wait till the end of the 6 months and then you have all the good stuff, right? We wanted to really launch you off with a lot of stuff, even at the beginning, that you're going to be able to use, put into practice, ask us about, see the improvement that happens with your clients, all of that. So we're going to give you a lot in that packed weekend. That weekend is going to be monumental. It's going to have you. It's going to have everybody else in the course. Kate and I are going to be there. It's going to be huge. It's going to be awesome. And it's included. I mean, it's part of the course. It is part of the course. So it's, going to be awesome. I'm very excited about that. Kate and I are really looking forward to meeting all you guys in person, working with you. It's going to be great. If you have, what I just described, all of what I've been talking about is similar to what I'm going to say in these open house meetings, but I do want to let you know that if you go to that webpage, the safetoconnectapproach.com/professional-certification, I'm going to put it up there, but if you go to that, by the way, if you can't remember all of that, if you just go to safetoconnectapproach.com, you scroll down a bit, you'll see something about professional training. You click and it'll take you to the page. But anyway, what I wanted to tell you is also on that page, once a month, we're going to have an open house. This is free. It doesn't cost you anything. It's a free Zoom meeting where you can ask any questions about the course, where we're going to give you information about the course. We're going to have one on September 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. We're going to have one October 8th at 7 a.m. Eastern U.S. time. That's so it goes for helps people in other time zones, or if you want to do it early in the morning. We're going to have one on November 13th at noon Eastern U.S. time. So we're trying to get all different times, so that no matter who you are, you can make it to one of those. Although you're kind of in an open house right now, because the stuff I'm going to describe in the open house is what I'm telling you right now. But the difference is obviously we'll all be on camera together, and if you have any questions, you can ask. But those are when it is. You don't have to remember those 3 dates I just gave you. They're on the website. If you scroll down, there'll be a register button for any of those next 3. And we're going to have one every month. We're going to have one in January, February too. But these are going to be the best ones because you're going to want to start getting your life together and register so that you're ready to rock, early next year, so that by April, everything's hunky-dory. Here's some other things. Okay. Tuition is $7,500. Start date is April 5th. Graduation is September 20th. So I'm just telling you all these. Again, you don't have to remember all this. This is on the website. I'm just telling you it so you hear it. Online classes are going to be held every other Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. with a little break in the middle. So 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., that's Eastern U.S. time, so you have to calculate what that is where you live. There's going to be about a 30-minute break in each class. There will be some exceptions. For instance, there will be no online classes on the weekend of the in-person workshop. We list all of the online class dates right on the site. So if you're thinking, what does every other week mean? And you said you're going to skip a week, so how's that going to work? It's all on the website. April 5th, April 26th, May 17th, May 31st, June 14th, June 28th, July 12th, July 26th, August 9th, August 23rd, and September 6th, September 20th. But that's all listed. I'm talking about 2025 here. That's all listed right on the site. The dates of the 3-day workshop is Friday, May 2nd through Sunday, May 4th. 2025, my people, 2025. And the location is going to be in the New York City area. Right now it looks like it's going to be in White Plains, New York, but that could slightly change. But it's going to be in that area, New York City, the greater New York City area. It's not going to be in Manhattan. But it'll be easy to get to, is my point. Even if you have to fly in, it'll be very easy to get to. Yep. Just seeing if I'm covering everything. Yep. Yeah, all great. Oh, and then what you're going to see on the page is it'll say, it's a link there on the web page, apply for training. So it's not like one of our normal courses where you just register. This is a serious certification and training program. So you need to fill out an application. We see if it makes sense to let you in and if it's a good fit there. So this course isn't for everyone, but you can see if it's for you. You fill out the application is not like a huge one, but it's not one question either. It's got a bunch of questions. You can get right to it. You can fill it out right online. You just click send, boom, it goes right to our inboxes, and then we will get in touch with you and talk to you about it. Absolutely. If you want to talk to us, by the way, one-on-one about anything about this, fill out the application. Either way, fill out you're not obligated, we're not going to force you to take the course just because you fill out the application, but there's no point in having a discussion if it's not a good match and isn't going to make sense for us to have you in the course, right? So fill out the application. If you want to call with us, if you want to call with me, I'm happy to hop on the phone with you. Totally happy about this subject. Am I missing any? Yeah, we got it right here. Some questions. Yeah, it's not a bad application at all. Am I missing anything else? No, I think I covered all the basics. Now let me see what we got. We got some, I like this participación. Hi, Ali. Thank you for saying hello. Maureen. And if you are a parent, question mark. Maureen, are you sure that you put enough question marks? I'm concerned because you only put 3, and I'm thinking maybe you should have put 5 question marks because that might have been better. Anyway, your question is a valid one, Maureen. If you are, of course, you can still, it depends what the reason is. If you're a parent, you can, I don't want to say you can take it because I don't know, but if you're a parent, you can definitely apply to take it. You can definitely apply to take it. Go ahead and apply, answer those questions. Again, it's not a giant, long application process. We're not doing it just to make life a pain in the neck for you. We're just trying to make sure it's a good fit, the right thing here. But yeah, parents are certainly not excluded from the course. Of course not. But go ahead and fill out. It doesn't cost anything. There's no application fee or anything like that. Go ahead and fill out the application. Ali, I see your question, but your question is on a different subject, so I'll come back to it. Thanks for Andrea. Hugs from Romania. Appreciate that. I appreciate it. So nice to have you. You come so consistently. I really appreciate it. Zora, hello, Zora. Emily Johansson. With lots of S's, because that's how they do it in Emily's home country. How you doing, Emily? Good to see you. Good to have you here. Let's see. Okay, yes, I would really like your help. I hear you, Emily. I totally hear you. Lenora. Oh my gosh, Lenora. I was just thinking about you yesterday and talking to my wife about you. That is so funny. That's so great. So great to see you here. How you doing, Lenora? Oh my gosh. How you doing? How's the Portmeister? The Portmeister. It is really, really good to have you here, though. No joke. I'm really delighted to see you. Thanks, Lenora. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Gabriella. Let's see. We got Gabriella. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and experience with other professionals and spreading it forward. Wish this was the conventional method all over the world. Gabriella, from your mouth to God's ears, man. I share that desire. I'm with you. I do wish this was the conventional method all over the world. That would be, but actually, that's what this is trying to make happen. That's what this is in service to. So I'm with you. We have the same goal. Let's see what else we got. Oh, we have a beautifully written French. I think it's French, right? Yes, I think it's French. Yes, it is French. French comment. Unfortunately, it will not. Sometimes there's a little button I can press that will translate it to English. But that is not here. I am so sorry, Driss. I apologize. If you want to Google translate it to English, pop it right back on here. I'd be happy to read it and answer you if you have a question. because it looks like you do have a question, and your question has the word Paris in it, which is good. That's the one word I'm able to translate. And then I can see at the end you're saying you and Kate Wild. Yes, me and Kate Wild. But I don't know what your question is. Êtes-vous allé donner des formations pour les francophones comme celle de Paris? I'm not totally sure what all that means, and I probably butchered the pronunciation. I'm really good at pronouncing Spanish. I don't have a lot of education in pronouncing French, except for a few words. So my apologies there. But if you want to put it in English, happy to answer you. Frederick. Hello, Frederick. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Frederick. Luz Darlene. This is not related to the course. Okay, so I will come out. That's not me saying that. That's Luz saying that. Luz, I will come back to you. I promise. I will come back. Lenora asking a question. Is this training only available for professionals, or is it something a mom can do as well? Yes, that was just who was asking that question? Maureen. Yes, Maureen was asking that. Lenora, you're asking the same question. It's just as good of a question. It is something a mom can do. Do me a favor. If you're wondering that, do me a favor and fill out the application. Again, it's not that long and there's no application fee. So I'm not asking for any money from you. Fill out the application. We can have a phone call about it and see how that works. But yes, we're not excluding parents from the course. Of course not. But great question, Lenora. Absolutely. In fact, I assume there's going to be a bunch of parents in the course, but there's going to be a bunch of OTs and SLPs and all that stuff. In fact, I haven't had a list. Hold on, let me just get it. We got OTs, SLPs, teachers, special ed teachers, therapists, play therapists, child psychologists, autism consultants and coaches. Yes, parents, but also therapy centers, group homes, and early childhood education centers as well. So yes, that's a totally great question, Lenora. What else? Okay. I want to leave, if you have any other questions about what I was just talking about, go ahead and write me now, because if you don't, I'm going to answer. There are 2 people that wrote with questions that are on a different subject, and I want to answer their questions, but I'm giving priority to the people who are asking questions about the certification course first, and then we're going to get to the other people. So Limia says, sounds great. Hi, Limia. What's up? Nice to see you. Driss. Oh, Driss with the translation into English. Me likey. The course is for parents. You and Kate, what? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Driss. I don't actually still understand what you're asking me. I really apologize. Let me think of how I can help you out here, Driss, because I just don't know what you're asking. If you're asking if it's for a parent like you, I don't know yet. It is, but I want to highlight you are definitely eligible. Right? I'm not telling you no, you can't do it. Fill out the application. Let's have a phone call about it. Okay? Because we can see if that's what you're asking. Oh look, it made a little thing. Okay, so and on Andrea, it's thank you for the little clap. I appreciate that. Hi, Limia again. Simon Smoleckis. What's up, Simon? How about a clown who plays with ASD people? Yes, a clown who plays with ASD people, definitely eligible, but fill out the application. Fill out the application. Let's have a phone call about it. Zora, are you and Kate going to give training courses for French speakers like those in Paris? I translated just, oh my gosh. Yes, thank you, Zora. That was incredibly kind of you. Are we going to give training courses for French speakers like those in Paris? Okay, let me answer this as best I can. So the first part is the actual professional certification course that we are talking about today. You need to be able to speak English for. You need to be able to understand and speak English. Believe me, I wish it weren't that way. Kate and I have taught all over the world, and we've taught, including in France, many times in France, with expert interpreters who are doing that. That's great. We're not able to provide that for the certification training. We're not able to provide that. Now, I never thought of this, but I guess you could provide one for yourself. But I imagine that would be incredibly pricey and difficult. So what I would say, in answer to your question, Driss, is it's not the certification course is not built for that. However, there is something else I want to ask, which is, or want to put out. Kate and I are still doing other training courses. I'm talking about like, 2-day courses, 3-day, not 6 months courses like this certification, but our normal courses, basically our regular courses, the ACT Live Rescue course, all this stuff. We do that online, but we also do that in person. We would be more than willing to do it in France. Like I said, we've taught in France many times with interpreters. It was great. We had an amazing experience with the French people. It was awesome. We would be more than happy to do that again. More than happy to do I'm talking about one of our regular courses, to go there for several days and go teach something. We would be happy to do that, but that would require it's not something we're just going to show up in France and do. When we've done it before in France and in Singapore and in Malaysia and in Portugal and all over the world, when we've done it those places, it's because we have someone there, either a person or an actual little organization that actually wants to bring the course there. So they get in touch with me and with Kate, and we have a whole arrangement we make where you're getting the people, and it's like a whole thing. So it is something we love to do and have done many, many, many times for many, many years. We're still doing it. We'd be happy to do it, but it's something that requires an arrangement from people in Paris. Okay, let's go to the next one. Oh yeah, Zora, thank you. Yeah. Okay, guys, I don't see other questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer the 2 questions that are not related. Okay, first is Ali. Is there any hope for a 5-year-old child to speak? Well, the short answer to that is absolutely there is hope. Yes, for sure. This is, remember, you don't want to, if you're a parent, so I'm switching gears completely here. If you are a parent who has a child on the spectrum, or an adult, now that I say that, and anyone on the spectrum, a son or a daughter on the spectrum, I can't think of any reason why it would be helpful to listen and take seriously people who are telling you they're never going to speak for the rest of their life because it's too late, right? I would say that if you have a 5-year-old, like as you do, Ali, but I would say that if you have a 15-year-old or 25-year-old too, I really would, because I've seen and personally worked with people who've really started talking in sentences in their 30s. Yeah, that's right. In their 30s, certainly in their 20s, certainly as teenagers, and definitely at 5 or older, for sure. I've seen all of that happen. So now, does that mean I know for a fact what's going to happen with your 5-year-old? Of course I don't, right? Every child is different. In fairness, I have worked with people who we did everything we can to help them be able to speak verbally with their mouth. I say that because there are a lot of people on the spectrum who can type quite fluently, but aren't necessarily able to speak with their mouth. There are people, I want to be very upfront, of course, there are people that I have worked with, and we did our best, and at least during the duration that I worked with them, they never learned, they never spoke. At that, I still don't believe that means they never will, by the way, but I did not see them speak. So is it possible that someone, despite our best efforts, can grow up autistic and never learn to speak? It is, of course, possible. Of course it is. So I'm not trying to feed you a fairy tale here. No matter who your loved one is, they're gonna speak. They're gonna speak. I don't know. It varies so much. And there's a lot of times, I will tell you this, if autism is the thing getting in the way of their language, I feel very, very optimistic about them speaking if their autism is dealt with in the right way. And what I mean by that is, if the reason they're not speaking is because they're deeply in their own world, they're not connecting with people, they're very rigid and inflexible, so they don't want to try things you're asking them to do, like speaking, that's great. I mean, I don't mean it's great that they're not speaking, but that's a great situation. You got a lot of good raw material there. A lot of times what's happening is people on the spectrum have additional things going on other than autism, right, that are getting in the way of speaking. Again, I still don't think that means they'll never speak, but it means I don't know if they'll speak. So for kids, for instance, or adults who have severe apraxia, which is totally separate from autism, apraxia is not an inherent part of autism at all, but many people on the spectrum also have apraxia. That is true. And if that's what's going on, then it can be a bigger mountain to climb to get speech to happen, because it's not just about interacting. It's about low muscle tone in the mouth. It's about a weak or disconnected brain-mouth connection. So there's other issues going on there. That's what I'm trying to say. So, Ali, while I'm not sitting here and going to make you a promise, right? I don't want to do that kind of thing. I don't know the future any more than you do. But what I can say is, if you're asking, is there hope for a 5-year-old child to speak? Absolutely. And do I personally know of many, many people who were 5, 6, 7, 8 who weren't speaking and then were speaking in sentences? Yes. I've had many, many, many of those experiences, Ali. Not one or two, many. So I have great hope for your son or your daughter. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but I have great hope. And again, you're not even talking about someone who's 25, which I would still have hope for. But you're talking about a 5-year-old. The development is still in its early stages. Up until the year 2000 or so, the dominant neuroscientific view was that the brain is like wet cement as a child, hardens into concrete when you get to 7, 8, 9 years old, and then that's the brain you got. So a lot of parents have been told, that I've worked with, hey, if your loved one isn't speaking by 7, or sometimes 8, or sometimes 5 even, I've heard, then they're never going to speak. They have to learn by this certain age, which is so counterproductive to tell a parent, because number one, it's just flat out not true, which I'll explain why in a second, but that's just not true. Secondly, it's very counterproductive, because what it does is it makes parents feel under a time pressure to get their kid to speak. Why is that so detrimental? Because when you feel like you're under a time pressure with your 5-year-old, for instance, to get speak, because we got to beat the deadline, right? When you do that, you put pressure on them. And one thing I know, this I know for sure, this is a promise I can make you. If your loved one is on the spectrum and you push and put pressure on them, then they are going to feel the need to dig their heels in and push back. Not because they're trying to be difficult, but because they're trying to feel a basic level of control that they need to self-regulate. They are going to feel the control being pulled from them when you put pressure on them. They're going to dig their heels on, and you will get the opposite of what you're trying to get. You're going to get less trust from them, less interaction from them, but also you're going to get less speech. When you push and pressure someone on the spectrum to speak, you get less speech, not more speech. And you get lots of other side effects you don't want to. Forgetting about the speech, you're also getting a stressed out kid. Like, there's a million things you're getting you don't want, right? So you don't want to push and pressure. That's really important. I don't mean you don't want to help your son or daughter to speak. I mean, you don't want there to be a push around it, right? And if you feel like you're under a deadline, you're going to be pushy. And so telling parents this, it's just deeply counterproductive. But also, it happens to be scientifically untrue. And what a big change that's happened just this century, just after the year 2000, in the neuroscientific world, is the understanding that the brain is not like cement that hardens into concrete at all. It is a very plastic organ, a plastic meaning it can make profound changes in response to the right stimulus, right? That at all ages, not just when they're young, I'm talking about all ages. And if you're 75, that's still true, right? So that understanding of neuroplasticity, which is the common term they use a lot, right, has really opened up a lot of doors. So your daughter or son is capable. I can tell you this as well. Your daughter or son, Ali, is capable of more than what you're seeing right now. That I do know as well. Again, I don't know what the level of speech is going to be. It might be that in 2 years, your loved one is speaking in full sentences, right? I don't know, or not. But I can tell you that he or she is capable of more than you're seeing right now. That I do know. Okay, let me go to one other one. Hold on, which was lose. Okay, this is not related to the course. I'm mother of a 26-month-old, just diagnosed. Oh, 26-month-old. Okay, got it. So we're talking roughly a 2-year-old. Got it. I'm looking into joining the Sunshine Program. Well, guess what? I think you mean something different. I don't think you mean the Sunshine Program, since I'm not aware of a program called the Sunshine Program. And I wanted to ask a few questions. I know your parents worked with you for nearly 3 years. By the way, I want to be very clear. That program you're referencing, Luz, me and Kate both are in no way affiliated with that program anymore and haven't been for quite some time. So just so you know, I do not speak for them in any way. They're doing their thing. We're doing our thing. I wish them well. I still think they're doing amazing work. I recommend parents go there. It's great, but is not what I'm doing, and I'm not affiliated with them in any way, shape, or form. So I do want to be clear on that. Anyway, I know your parents worked with you for more than 3 years. You said nearly 3 years, more than 3 years. But after approximately how much time did they feel that you were deemed typical? What's the average time your clients do the program? So again, I cannot really fully answer. I can answer the question you're asking about my parents working with me. Actually, let me answer that, because that I can answer. It's okay. It's not quite as simple as that. It's not like they woke up one day and said, oh, he's typical. In fact, they didn't even talk like that. And I don't actually now call myself that anymore. I don't use the same terminology I used to use 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I don't say that I'm like no longer autistic. I just say, look, I was diagnosed with what they called at the time severe autism. I was non-speaking. I supposedly had a tested IQ below 30. That's what the medical professionals said. I spent my days, rocking back and forth, moving my fingers, doing different stims like that. Had no language, all of that. And then my parents worked with me for over 3 years. And at the end of that period, I was speaking in sentences and was able to, as I got a little older, make friends and went to typical schools, graduated from Brown University, the whole thing, right? And got married, all this, all the things that my parents were told over and over again I would not be able to do. That's what I did. Now, I don't label that as I, quote, recovered from autism, not autistic. I don't do that anymore. But I've learned a lot and grown a lot and changed a lot in the last 5 years or so. I can't answer it in the way you're framing it. I have to be honest with you on something, and Luz, you might not like me for answering this, but there's something that's rubbing me wrong about the tenor of your question. I don't mean that you're rubbing me wrong. Like, I don't mean like I have a problem with your question or I'm offended by your question or you shouldn't ask that question. But there's something about it, the way you're framing it, that I don't know is helpful, which is you're very interested in how much time did it before I was deemed typical, right? Like why is that? I don't know that that's healthy. I will answer you, but I don't know that this is a healthy approach because again, this is exactly the kind of approach, Luz, that's all about results. And it's not that results and growth and learning is not important. It's that when we get really focused on that and maybe even sometimes obsessed with that, because we desperately don't want our child to be different. When we do that, it's very, very counterproductive. We end up putting pressure on our loved ones, which again moves them back. It creates more problems than it solves. We end up not being able to really enjoy the child or adult that we have right now because we're so busy trying to get them to be different, right? So I really feel like this is a fundamental mistake. Obviously, I'm not telling you how to parent. You do what you want, but I'm not going to participate in that. What I will say is my parents, by the end of my parents working with me, they worked with me for a little over 3 years, about almost 3.5 years. By that time, I was very interactive, highly verbal, very social, but I still did have some sensory differences. Some different things looked and sounded different to me. And that went on for another few years, but it didn't hold me back in any way. I was at that point going to typical schools and interacting just as a regular class person there. I didn't have like an aide or someone like that in school with me. I actually did very well in school and also had a lot of friends. So that worked out for me. But I don't think it has to be exactly that way for everybody. That's just what my life was like. I will say that after the first year, though, there was profound differences in how I was being. I was spending much, much, much more time interacting with my parents and much less time stimming, but not because my parents ever stopped or tried to redirect my stims, and that's important. It was because this was coming from me that I was needing to stim less, so I was stimming less, and I was interacting with them more because I wanted to, not because I was pushed to. This is really, really important. So I don't have an exact day for you, but I can tell you things were dramatically different after the first year. They were even more different after 2 years. And actually, it was really after a little over 2 years, they could have stopped then. Like I was quite interactive by then. I was really making a lot of strides in a lot of different areas, but they still felt like I was having just some issues with how I was interacting with the world, and they wanted to really help me with any remaining struggles I might have had. So they stuck with it an extra year or so when they didn't have to. Well, I mean, they never had to, but what I mean is like, it still would have been regarded as like a story that people would have written books about and might have made a movie about. It still would have been if they had stopped after 2.5 instead of 3.5 years. But they wanted to really just address all the different pieces that might still be areas of social challenge that I was having. They focused very intensely on my social development. This is important to understand, Luz, as well. They weren't trying to catch me up academically. They weren't doing math with me. And in fact, after this 3.5 years, I was behind in some areas academically, but I caught up, as they sent me to school. That wasn't a big problem in my life. But what was great was because they had spent so much of that time in my social development, I had a really easy time socially, like right away as I went into school. So it was pretty amazing. So I hope that's helpful to you. The average time your clients do the program. Okay, well, I could do mine. So you're saying, what's the average time? I'm not going to speak for the program you're referencing because I have nothing to do with them. So I'm not going to speak for them. I can speak for, if you're asking the average time that my clients do the Safe to Connect Autism approach, or the ACT protocol. The ACT protocol, remember, if you guys will, the average time people do that is about 2 weeks, sometimes less. It's a 2 to 3 week protocol. So that's different. That's designed to re-regulate your loved one and get them out of cycles of meltdowns, extreme or explosive behavior, high anxiety. So that's actually a short-term protocol, not a long-term program. That's what makes it so doable, actually, because you can do anything for 2 weeks, right? Do anything. In terms of the average amount of time that people would stick to the larger scope of the Safe to Connect Autism approach that Kate and I do, what's the average amount of time? I don't know if there's a perfect average, but people will do it for a couple of years. It takes, I would recommend, it's not a quick fix. It's not something you do for 6 months and like, boom, all struggles are not struggles anymore. Do you know what I mean? But I gotta say, Luz, every child, this is what I'm trying to tell you, every child is so different, this is what I'm concerned with about the tenor of your question. It's a very time-focused question. It could be that you could do it for a year and it would be like a night and day difference and you'd feel like done. You'd feel great about that. Or it could be that it's 3 years. One thing I will say, and this has occasionally happened with me, and I'm very honest about it. Sometimes I will work with someone and 6 months in, 9 months in, doesn't seem to be helping that much. That does happen sometimes. So it's rare, but it does happen. And when that happens, the first thing I say to parents is, look, if what we're doing together doesn't seem to be producing much, so let's not keep doing this. Like, you should not keep working with me and keep doing Safe to Connect Autism approach if we're seeing nothing from it. You should look for a different approach, because this is not, so I'm not one of these people of like, just keep doing it when you're not seeing much, right? I'm really not one of those people at all. I'm the first person to say, if it's not doing much, don't keep doing it. Now, you still need to do it long enough, doing something for a very short period of time, other than something like the ACT protocol, which is designed for a short period of time, but doing more like a long-term program, you can't do it for a month or two and expect, and sort of know how that's going to work, right? You got to do it at least 6 months at the very least. So, and oftentimes a year, but at least 6 months. And then it's perfectly legit to be like, I really did it. I really put it into practice. I'm not seeing much from it. So I'm going to move on, and I will cheer you on as you move on. I'm not trying to keep you in. Believe me, I want what works for your child, your adult, and your family. That's what I want. So I hope that was helpful, Luz. Maybe it wasn't. I hope it was, though. I was just trying to sincerely answer your question. Okay, let's see. I'm going to have to get off in a moment, but I want to see what else we got going on here. If there's any other questions. Oh, no other questions. Okay, so listen, I'm going to let you go. I will put the link back up there. I realized I didn't put it up there, but remember, it's safetoconnectapproach.com. That's the main website, actually. You can just go there, safetoconnectapproach.com, or you could go to safetoconnectapproach.com/professional-certification. Okay? And I will put that second link I just said, I'll put that right up top. All right, take care, everybody. I really hope to see you in the course in April. That would be amazing. All right, take care.